Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-873-7618. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another excellent edition of the Power Trading Hour. As always, we love to come to you at this time.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
So, what do we have? Well, if you caught the update, not a whole lot changing out here. This week, of course, is options expiration, and on Friday, the setup is either incredibly bullish or incredibly bearish. We could break and go lower. I think that is a small percentage chance. I think that there is a great deal of belief in the market that something's going to happen in the next 2 days and drive this market much higher. They've done everything they can to sell as many puts as they can. They're also taking off as many calls as they can and buying them back at this level. This suggests they think we're going to have a strong close through Friday. Yesterday, we talked about automatic rallies. That was a kind of a Wyckoff thing, Richard Wyckoff. And that was the thought that a low is not a low unless it gets retested. We are going to have Tim Ord on tomorrow. And I remember he, drove that point into me incessantly. And that was a low is not a low unless it's been retested. Low is not a low unless it's been retested. So we're getting the retest today, either a little or all, sometimes even more than a little bit than all of that thing. But you're just looking for the light volume retest. Now, that does not mean that we won't come back down to Monday's low yet again, maybe in the weeks to come. But I'm thinking we've got maybe a week or two where we get maybe a automatic rally, not an automatic rally. That's what we had yesterday. What we're going to have is a kind of a stumble up, and everybody's going to assume everything's okay. And as I said earlier, over the last few weeks, I think I started maybe 2 weeks, maybe longer than that, saying this is going to be a big red pill year. I think for politics, it's already starting to be. For the markets, it definitely is. But we're going to have a lot of changes. And I think a lot of people are going to have their belief in what is true and what is not ripped from them. It'll be very interesting to see what people actually land on. Will they continue to whistle past the graveyard and just say, nah, 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 it's not true, nah, 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 it's not true? Because that's what we get a lot today, and it's not from any particular side. Everybody kind of picks their news source and sticks with it. What I can tell you, though, is that the rest of the world is scared what do I want to say here? We'll not get in trouble here. They're scared excretionless. Is that the way I say it? They are, yes, they can't poop. They're so scared. But it is very different watching the news sources that, pretty much in their own corner. But the people in Europe, Australians, a lot of other folks, you watch their news, you would think that they think a great deal less of us than they did before, and probably rightfully so. They tend to get a lot of the news, and, even them, at least locally, it's biased. But maybe because they don't have a lot of people they have to cotton to, they may focus in on the truth a great deal more. So don't be surprised. One of the reasons I bring this up is that, yet it is going to be a tough year for people who are stuck in beliefs, only to see them crushed and find out that, the media isn't really too interested in telling us anything resembling the truth. But more than anything, it could be a huge upheaval for both politics and finances this year. Other things going on in the sectors, of course, energy is the worst performing sector, mostly because everybody thinks that the world is going to hell in a handbasket fairly quickly. Other things going on is the first biotech stock is going to Discovery. I talked about another one. This one kind of came out of the blue. I wasn't expecting it for another month, but mRNA is going to Discovery. Pfizer, I was looking for their announcement any day, but now that Moderna is, I assume Pfizer will be right behind it. That case has just been a lot easier to follow down in Texas. But when you read the documents, you find out that the first paragraph said that they were going to do a lot of stuff, and they didn't do any of it. And there's lots of whistleblowers at the company because of the wonderful whistleblower law. Guess what? Those folks can get up to 10% of that. And 10% of billions of dollars last time I looked, although I'm not a mathematician, but I play one on my podcast, it would be a huge amount of money. So they have a little bit of need to stretch the truth. But so far, everything they've said has been true. And if they find the same thing in the documents of these biotechs, there could be billions and billions. I probably should get that clip. Billions and billions of galaxies, of dollars that are at risk. But also probably find out our politicians were pretty much lying to us, even again and more, much less the sector that has been fined more than any other sector by all the regulatory bodies of the United States. 877-927-6648. Okay. See if we have anything else going on here. Let's go to the Tiger Chat. Oh, we got the pool pills. Okay. Okay, we got lots of emails here. I'm just trying to get through them here, and then we'll go back to some others. I know we've got some. Could you take a look at the SMH or the SOX? We'll certainly do that when we come back. That is repeat out on the extreme coast, opposite mine. So we'll look at that. But anyway, keep a close eye, especially on those SPYs. That volume does look kind of low. It may take a couple of days to get this low in, so don't get it too excited yet. I haven't decided to jump in whole hog long just yet, but I'll be looking that way. Back in a minute.
Currencies, commodities, and bond markets are as important as ever right now with how they're driving the volatility in equity markets across the globe, which is why it's a great time to try out Teddy Kakestat's Tiger Forex Report. Teddy Kakestat breaks down the Forex markets every Monday using his 30-plus years of experience as a trading veteran of futures, Forex, stocks, and options. Teddy releases his weekly Tiger Forex Report every Monday morning with coverage of all the major currency pairs, including the dollar index, the euro dollar, pound dollar, dollar Swiss, dollar yen, as well as many more, and he also has weekly coverage of the crude oil market and the 30-year T-bonds, as they both influence Forex markets tremendously. When you sign up for the Tiger Forex Report, you also gain instant access to Teddy's 60-minute webinar archive he just hosted, Forex Strategies and Fundamentals, What is Behind the Tiger Forex Report. For all the details and to start your 30-day Tiger Forex Report subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Are you grinding in the market, but seeing little to no return? Or are you a successful trader, simply looking to make your job a little easier? Learn to take the path of least resistance with David White's powerful trading newsletter. David White is an accomplished trader whose deep understanding of technology and the markets allows him to consistently find and share winning trades. Support and resistance define the ranges in which stocks trade. By understanding these trading ranges, David White is able to find the path of least resistance. David White's trading newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, is delivered daily before the markets open to make every trading day an easy win. Visit TFNN.com today and subscribe to David White's Ultimate Trading Newsletter for $119 a month. And try all of our newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Take the path of least resistance at TFNN, educating investors. Are you looking for a way to consistently add winning trades to your portfolio? Tom O'Brien is here to help. Tom O'Brien has been successfully trading markets for over 30 years. A frequent contributor to TD Ameritrade Network and CNBC, Tom O'Brien founded TFNN over 20 years ago to help educate investors just like you. Tom's daily market newsletter, Market Insights, is published every morning when the markets open to give you the competitive informational edge you need to succeed. These newsletters are packed full of Tom's advanced technical analysis and are geared to deliver comprehensive strategies for a successful portfolio. Get Tom O'Brien's newsletter, Market Insights, today and try all of our products and newsletters 30 days risk-free with our money-back guarantee at TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
And as we're talking here, repeat in the far extreme other coast has asked us to look at the SMHs. We're down here on, I'm going to say slighter volume, certainly, but probably not slight enough. You want something, less than probably 4 million shares today. You got 4.9 2 days ago. Today you got 3.5. So you're probably going to get a little bit more. That would suggest that there is the possibility of retesting the 232.78 low of the 13th, which is Monday, if you live in Lutz. So what do we have? You pierced a previous low. You did it on more volume. You're probably going to get a retest of some or all of it. There is some good news. AMD has talked about its new product that they're coming out with. Unfortunately, you want to see a lot more volume in that one today. You're looking for something about 100 million shares. You got about 51 today, 52. So that looks like that is going to be short. They've announced a new product, or actually leaked, that they're going to have a new rollout on the 14th. NVIDIA starts a new dog and pony for their machine learning systems this week. Is it on Monday or Tuesday? I think it's on Tuesday, maybe Monday. I'll have to go back and look. I generally sit through the online webinars that they have where they talk to a lot of people that are the programmers that are knee-deep in this and talk about and show some of their new technology. Which is actually fairly spectacular. Of course, they continue to make less money on retail gamers playing at home with their GPUs, and now really kind of move toward business where a lot of money is. Reminds me a lot of probably one of the best books ever on technology, and why they don't talk about trading. It does give you kind of a good idea. It's called Accidental Empires by Robert X. Kringley, who was a columnist for, was it InfoWorld? I think it was InfoWorld. And his column, of course, people back then used to fax him documents and stuff like that, and rat out people that were doing stupid stuff. It was always the column you wanted to grab and look for first in that computer magazine of the 80s. He's done a lot of other stuff since then, but probably his high watermark was writing that book. If you were trading technology, I really recommend it, because a lot of people say, all these people were just brilliant. A lot of them just happened to be kind of brilliant, but at the right place at the right time. There were many brilliant people that didn't do well in the same thing, and that's why he called it accidental empires. Or as Woody Allen used to say, maybe he still says it, I haven't seen him in a while. I guess he's got a little cloud hanging over him. But he used to say 90% of it is just showing up. And that's probably right. And that is just being there, knowing it's going to happen and waiting. Bill Gates has described it as standing on the railroad tracks and waiting for 5 years for the internet to show up. Because he said he started spending money on it in 1990. And, why it wasn't all wasted money? It's probably a lot like Metamucil these days that spent a lot of money on the metaverse, which probably is going to be 20 years down the line if it's like many other things. 877-927-6648. Anyway, a lot of these things are just hanging there. I think they look like they're going to make a pullback and then one more attempt at a high in a lot of these tech stocks that are the high flyers. Let's go ahead and look at some of the other ones here, like Microsoft. Let's see what we have here. And we may have already had the low today. I was hoping for one more effort because we didn't get down to the level I wanted to buy some stuff. Doesn't mean that wasn't it. Just means I was probably a little greedy, which isn't bad. You always wish to be out of something going against you rather than be in something that's going with what you thought already. Greed is good. Okay, so Microsoft, you're back up to this gap today. Many people talked about, or at least one person talked about it in the den today, and that was that it kind of opened up fairly low and then moved back higher. I think we're probably going to see the rest of these people looking at kind of the same thing. There may be one whale of a nice move higher by Friday. As I said, the options continue to point more and more to a stronger close on Friday, not to a weaker one. Anyway, the gap down on the 16th of February for Microsoft came down on 29.6 million shares. You got about 27 right now, so you're going to get into that gap with some decent volume. Let's take a quick look at the Apple. And not much going on in that one. Let's take a look at NFLX. And you got a nice move in that. Not a lot of volume in this one, though. That one's actually one of the weaker ones, at least on the bounce on volume. Let's take a look at Amazon. Kind of half-hearted on Amazon. It looks like some of the weaker ones. Question to take a look at IBM. Of course, IBM didn't do well on earnings, mostly because people are spending a whole lot less on cloud services that don't involve Microsoft or Amazon or the rest. So there are less customers for the Red Hat part of IBM. It has come back and gone into a gap. That is 13.6 million shares with about 3. So there are some stocks out here that look like they may be trying to find a bottom, even though these may need a little bit more of a sideways action before they start moving higher. Another question is to look at Electronic Arts, company I once worked for a million years ago. A nice little pop-up here, about half of a doji. And let's see, I don't see much in this. These, of course, still problematic as the buyouts kind of drove them up, and the U.S. administration trying to nix all those buyouts have driven them down. But just the cost of video cards from NVIDIA and AMD have really kind of put a lid on computer gaming for a while. But we shall see. We'll be back in a minute.
If you want to take advantage of this sector, now is the time to subscribe to my Gold Report. The Gold Report is a comprehensive look at the metal sector as well as the markets that move gold, which is the currency and bond markets. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. Every Monday morning, I publish the Gold Report with coverage of gold, silver, bonds, the XAU, HUI, GDX, as well as more than 30 different mining equities. To see for yourself the types of profitable trades that are recommended within the Gold Report, sign up now by visiting TFNN.com. Don't miss out on the next great gold trade. Sign up today.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. For free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartleys, ABCs, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
As we continue to rock and roll now, pretty strong move, as we said at the top of the show. Options have been fairly bullish. They've only gotten more bullish throughout the morning. I put it out up to an update this morning to buy the SPYs. I may have been a little aggressive on the pricing, but yeah, I at least had the right direction correct. But certainly, now it's hard to think that we're not going to have a ton of short sellers on the wrong side, at least for the next couple of days. Take a look at the TLT real quick, see if it's coming back in. Yeah, it is kind of an interesting setup. I didn't think much was going on here. This looks like one more push higher. It's hard for me to believe that it's going to hang up here. My guess is that we are going to see this lower over the next week. The XLE has been on a tear to wash out a lot of folks. We have gotten back down to this big gap. So the question is, did we do it on lighter volume? The gap in question, October the 4th of last year. 33 million shares. We already have 39. That means you probably should bank on maybe a bounce here, but more than likely this thing's going to need to consolidate out or retest the low today, which is 76.24. We were talking about GLD having one more gap higher and finding its high. That may be today. Certainly kind of looks like it. Would have liked to seen more volume today, but yeah, as I said, the next gap higher would probably be a pretty good opportunity to sell. More than likely, 177-ish on the GLD is where this thing is going to probably consolidate a bit over the next few days. And then my guess is that's the setting up the next rip higher. But these two, or actually this three gap play that we talked about, is pretty much done now in the gold. We saw it in the banks. So we've had some huge volatility, but these are not things that don't have patterns that do work. It's just these patterns don't come around very often. But yeah, you probably got a high in gold, Jerry, at least for a handful of days. I'm not going to be saying it's time to short it or anything, but 177-ish on a light volume pullback would probably be an opportunity to buy, not sell. Ideally, I think we're going to get back up maybe around the 4,000 level on the S&P cash and go sideways. And generally, that is a sideways market is probably the best market there is for gold. As we said yesterday, we're looking forward to the Fed next Wednesday. And that means that options rollovers Monday and Tuesday. We're going to hurry up and wait for Wednesday in the Fed to see what they say. Is it 0.25%? Probably not 0.5%, but probably not nothing either. And I think a lot of people are betting on nothing either, and that's maybe why we're having the bounce now. Let's go back to others. Okay. SOX took a turn, SOXS. Today. I don't see anything here. Take a quick look internally. You're down a little bit, 50 cents. It's not the worst of things. Maybe there's some news or something affecting them. But, yeah, we're just on it. I mean, you're not on the, if you're looking at a 10-minute chart or 15-minute chart, then you're probably shouldn't be paying any attention to me. I'm more about a daily chart. You hardly ever see me on anything else. Weekly, monthly, I really don't care that much about. The reason is when I look at a stock or a chart, I look from the highs to the lows. I'm not really, it may take a while to get there, but there's a reason why I use these kind of what they're called zigzag charts. And that is I want to see the high, I want to see the low, I want to see the characteristic of what's in between. But if it's 2 weeks or 4 weeks, I don't think there's anything magical. And two, you can get you lose all the gaps from the days like the 3-gap play. If I was just looking at weekly and monthlies, I'd probably never see them. I wouldn't understand why they are important. And if I'm looking at something too small, that's kind of it. So I'm trying to capture, for the most part, the biggest moves I can get in probably 10 to 14 days of trading, because that's generally where the biggest amount of money is made in the market. or the biggest moves are. So it's the chance I have to be the most right. So let's see here. Okay. Yeah, we're still doing pretty good. We're only down less than 0.9% on the SPYs and the S&P 500. Could you get some more consolidation here and then see the rip? Probably a little bit of sell-off before numbers tomorrow and Friday, but I think by Friday afternoon we're probably going to have a barn burner of a squeeze play on the backs of the short sellers. But that's what's most likely, but not what definitely will happen. Okay. Let's see if we have anything else. Okay. Other questions? Good time to give me a call, 877-927-6648. We'll go through some other stuff and see. Looked at AMD. Let's take a quick look at MU, as long as we're talking about the semis, and see if there's any kind of low. The good part of Micron is that it has come back and tested this gap higher. That gap was on the 4th. That had 25 million shares. You tested it a couple of days ago with 17 million shares. Today, you only have 8. So that is a pretty good indication. I also like that it went up on 11 on my power law vector indicator and came back so far on 8. So that is telling you that the selling did kind of start to decline out here. And we're back on this low. And yeah, that's actually a fairly good looking chart. Okay. What else do we have? Fridays, everybody's going to be drunk and buying. Okay. Okay. So what should I look at CCJ? Since a lot of people are looking at interest rates going higher and China is actually withdrawing some of the money, this is going to be a big factor in that. So you have come back down to this big day higher, the big candle, which was the 6th. But almost all these stocks, we've been talking about it for a while, we're coming back to the beginning of the year. Now, this one had 6.3 million shares on the 6th. Oh, I got a ding. That probably means I've got somebody on the line. We're going to the break, but we've got the $6 million man calling in, Steve Austin. His name is Steve from Austin. And we're going to be back in just a minute. Steve, hang on, if you can.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. For free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
The technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Are China A-shares hot or not? If you trade China A-shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A-share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A-shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction Shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
And gentlemen, we have a man barely alive, but we can put him back together better, faster, stronger. It's Steve Austin. Actually, just Steve from Austin. And you want to look at Antero Resources?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What are you thinking?
Dave, I love your attitude and I love your sense of humor. It's just amazing to me. I love it. Anyway, just your thoughts on the natural gas, the gassers.
I would say what I have right now is it's just a very tough time until August to be long natural gas. You called about Antero Resources?
Yes, sir.
They generally don't make a really good low until about August. I mean, you're in actually what is fairly seasonally strong part of the market. If we look at UNG, every indication here is you got a 41 million share low back on February 21st. You're probably going to test that.
Yeah.
So
and then what is it? UNG is the natural gas ETF, I think.
Right. That's what I'm looking at on the camera right now.
Oh, okay.
But, if you look at Antero, I don't see anything out here. You've got a doji. And generally, if you look at a doji on a short term, it's either a low or the halfway move down. And that would take you, if it's a halfway move down, the high on February 24th is 27.63 to 21. So let's call that $6, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the next question would be, if you look out here, is there anything that comes up at like $15 that makes sense? And you've got a lot of lows out here that do come in on December 6th, 2021 and January 24th, 2022. And that would be the next level of support if it breaks. You got a little bit around
so
$20.
It's way too early on this then.
I don't see any reason. I've never been a real natural gas fan other than if you got the wind behind your sails at your back, and that is somewhere around August most of the time. You can make money trading it. Maybe if you spent your whole life devoted to following it, as many people in the commodities part of the business do. But, if you're a wheat guy, you got to be sitting there watching the weather every day. And if you're in gas, you got to be sitting there watching all the different stuff that go into natural gas. Plus one other problem, and that is that almost everybody that's long crude is short natural gas. And so there's a lot of cross currents that go into trading it, and you have to almost be kind of a specialist. Let me put it that way. But you've got, if it goes any lower here now, you're right back into what is and should be support, which is around $21. But you got a doji sitting right on top of it. If this thing goes below $20, it's probably going to 16.
Okay, so it's way too early on it then.
I don't see anything. You would want some kind of sign. And in this case, I'm going to say that sign is going to be a burning bush with somebody with stone tablets next to it saying that, yes, this is a sign. It's not going to be a mild one, right? It's going to be a big sign. So, yeah, I'd look at it, you know, especially if it's not doing a whole lot today. On what we've got is a fairly decent rejection of the lows, which is what we were talking about yesterday. We needed one more test. And even on Monday, I said I thought that the lows were going to be here on Wednesday. I just thought we had maybe a little bit more to go on the downside. But no, we're moving up, and I think this is the low for the weekend's in. We're going to have resistance at about 3,900 on the S&P cash. Maybe we get a little bit of a pullback tomorrow, but it looks to me like long and strong through Friday's close. Now, next week, probably a whole different issue. But
but as far as the gassers are concerned, it's way too early. You think this is not the time to be a buyer on it?
I haven't seen anything in that sector, whether it's natural gas or gasoline or crude, that says anything is changing anytime in the next, foreseeable future. For me, that's probably between now and Monday.
Okay. Sounds good. Dave, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
You bet. Have a good one. And, of course, Anyway, always got to have some fun when you can find it. Okay. See what else we have here. Okay. Got a couple minutes left. Let's go back and look some other stocks if we have some time. Looked at those. Okay, let's see some other ones out here. Okay, IBB. Talked about the problems these guys are going to have, at least the biggest ones out here, with discovery starting. And, when a judge says you can go to dig through these people's paperwork and you can start deposing some of these folks, that means that there's not no smoke, that there is some smoke. Doesn't mean that there's a fire. But generally, especially with the deference that judges give big companies and the government, who's kind of standing around saying, hey, don't look too closely here, I think it's a problem. You do have what looks, you'd want more of a move lower here in the biotechs today, but I think this is just something that's going to go on for the next year, kind of be a cloud over the head of a lot of the biotechs. Can't that be good? Can't that? I don't know. Talking about earnings for Micron. See what we have here. That's right. Oh, I show March 21st. Is that March 28th? Let's go ahead and check and make sure. Earnings whispers. Maybe they've been updated to the 28th. Maybe it's sooner. Okay. It is March 28th. I need to update them. But yeah, that does look, like you've probably made some lows. Generally, these stocks are like the semis are pretty good going into earnings in that they do tend to squeeze out the shorts before then. But good looking chart regardless. But you got, 13 days before earnings. We'll be back in a minute.
If you're looking for potential trading setups in the stock market, then Rocket Equities and Options Report is a newsletter you should try. Tommy O'Brien delivers options and equity trades when the markets present them, using a combination of fundamentals and technicals. Sign up for Rocket Equities and Options Report today with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. For all the details and to start your subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Everything in the universe is governed by the Fibonacci sequence. This mathematical principle is responsible for everything from the most aesthetically pleasing artwork to patterns in the stock market. To stay on top of stock patterns you can take advantage of, sign up for the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter at TFNN.com. When you subscribe, you'll get a weekly report from veteran day trader Larry Pesavento on stocks you need to pay attention to. And you can trust Larry's analysis. After all, he's got 45 years experience as a day trader. Larry will also provide daily charts, videos, and data on the key markets that he's tracking. Expect notifications from Larry on market movement you need to act on at any time. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. Subscribe to the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter today. TFNN.com, educating investors.
TFNN has launched the Tiger's Den. Hosted at Discord, TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And as we get ready to close out the show today, question about FRC. I mean, you had a bounce, pretty much a dead cat bounce. The good part today is you are going back into the candle that had 135 million shares with 73. But you come down that hard, it's very tough not to have at least consolidation and other stuff. So, you've got some wide swings out here. So at this point, normally, as I say, I give 3 days to everything, and I won't touch it because things can go nuts. But maybe 3 days and then come back and look at it. But when they get nuts like this, they just get more nuts. Stocks that swing wide can swing even wider. And it's kind of a no-fly zone for me. on that. So the rest of it, keep an eye on the volumes. As I said, if we tested Monday's low on lighter volume, we at least have a short-term low coming in. That was 189, is that right? Yeah, 157 million shares on Monday. Today, 110 on the SPYs, so we're going to be way underneath that. So actually not a bad-looking low setting up here. Not for the long term, but maybe through Friday's close, especially as we continue to auger in on what options would kill off a ton. We talked about about the day that $28 billion worth of options traded. There's a lot of money to be made if they can push this thing up through Friday's close. And then maybe they crush it again on the Fed next week. Sell when you can, not when you have to. We shall return tomorrow with Tim Ward, by the way.
Building wealth trading in the stock market seems impossible.